Every single dollar that you can save in a business extends the runway and the likelihood that the business will ultimately stay alive and succeed. For the first couple of years that AI was around, it felt like a tool that was sort of helpful, but not really a big deal. However, here we are in the middle of 2025, and AI is becoming something that no business owner can ignore. And I'd also like to add that no employee can ignore it either, because other employees that are using these tools will simply lap you and leave you behind. But going back to the business owner example, maybe you're one yourself. You are paying a lot of cost to keep the business afloat. Maybe it's for customer service, maybe it's for sales, maybe it's for marketing, maybe it's for engineering, or maybe you're simply paying with your time. The great news is that AI can either completely remove the need to have employees in those segments or completely eliminate the need for you to spend as much time as you're spending on those segments. And in this video, I want to break down exactly how I am automating up to 90% of my business. Now, this is a higher level video to help you understand the ways that AI can plug into your business and can completely change everything. And I will have following videos that gets into the actual technical details of how to build these solutions. And by the way, my name is Sam. I had a marketing agency for 6 years until I pivoted fully into building custom AI solutions into businesses. I became obsessed with it over the last 2 or 3 years, and I realized the power that it has. I started building these tools for myself, decided I wanted to help the world understand how they can build them too. And so that is the purpose of the video. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So how I automate up to 90% of my business with AI. For the context of this video, we're going to talk about customer service, we're going to talk about sales, and we're going to talk about marketing, okay? Very important. These are really the three. I mean, obviously engineering is a big part of it. In my opinion, engineering, even though vibe coding is becoming popular, it's not really something you're just going to just hand off to AI and have it do yet. So I want to focus on these 3 use cases to start. So here's the problem. Most businesses are stuck in manual labor loops. They're constantly checking Slack to see if a customer's mad or needs help. Maybe you can relate. We spend all day generating leads, reaching out to people, creating content, and quite frankly, it's exhausting. And don't forget selling, because that's the most important part. If you're not generating leads on autopilot, you basically go into fight or flight every time that you jump on a sales call, and you have to close this customer, or else the business might not make it till tomorrow. So the only thing you can do really to fix this problem is to simply hire away. But the problem is that makes your margins razor thin. So once a customer churns, you're sitting there wondering, how are you going to make payroll? You need the employees, but you also need the margins, and you're just in this constant flux of stress and anxiety because nothing is ever smooth and flowing the way that it should. So you basically have to choose one of two things. You can choose between working 24/7, or you can choose to sacrifice all of your profits. We don't really want to do either of those. That's not why we got into business in the first place. Luckily, this is the way that things were until 2025. But now you can work on the business instead of being consumed working in the business. It's time to automate, and I want to help you automate. And by the way, AI automation, it's sort of gotten a little cliche in my opinion. I actually think that automation is definitely valuable in the business, and there's definitely parts of the business you can automate, but there's also a lot of custom solutions that need to be built in order to do that automation. So let's take marketing as an example. There's a lot of things that you had to do back in the day if you were going to do marketing. I mean, you still have to do them today. It's just a matter of how you execute it. So you have organic content creation, you have scripting, recording, editing, paid ads, competitor analysis, writing copy, designing, media buying, lead gen, client acquisition, cold emails, responding to prospects, follow-ups, onboarding, sending questionnaires, and then, oh, by the way, you have to actually deliver the service too. This is a lot of stuff that you have to do. And this is just one bucket. This is just one bucket of these 3 buckets that we talked about. And oh, by the way, if you double click into any of these, organic content. Okay, great. Organic content where? Oh, on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and LinkedIn. We have to edit. What do we have to edit? Oh, long form YouTube and short form and those graphics. It's a lot of stuff. It's too much stuff, to be honest with you. No one person can do this, and that's why a lot of businesses struggle. Not anymore. So, like I said, the worst part is if you don't do this every single day, you're just going to fall behind and you're completely cooked. Your business would slow and you'd effectively be running out of time. How many times have you as a business owner said, I wish that there was more time in the day? I said it pretty much every day before I started implementing these systems. So how would you automate this marketing flow with AI? So I put together a little mock-up graphic. This is not the exact technical solution you would have, but if you're familiar with N8N, you're going to recognize this graphic, okay? So just as an example, ignore Slack, ignore all this stuff. This is just a silly little graphic I made in ChatGPT because I want to walk you through how this actually works, okay? So if we're thinking about organic content as an example, what we would do is we would have a place that we could go put into a request. So think of like a chat box, for example, like you go into ChatGPT, okay? Please create a video concept, title, and script to teach people how to automate their businesses with AI. Be sure to reference all of the notes that I have in the database. So you already have a database full of information, and this database should have every single call you've ever had in your business, every single Slack message, every single piece of content you've ever written, every transcript from every video, every client call. It should have all of the information that you've ever created, and it should live in a database. And this is called a RAG database. So I'm not going to get too in the weeds with it, but basically a RAG system is a way of taking content and information and then correlating it to numbers. So it's a bunch of zeros and ones, and it lets it find the content quickly. So let's say you have 1,000 gigabytes of data in this database. And that would take forever for a system to go through one by one, line by line. But using a RAG retrieval system, it can very quickly find that information and pull it up to the front and understand that this is the relevant piece of content that we need to build this script. Okay, so that's what's happening here in this AI agent. So it's going through the RAG system, it's going through the database, it's finding everything, it's saying, oh wait, here is the scripts for the successful YouTube videos. Oh, here's what the thumbnails look like. And so what it's gonna do is, the RAG agent is going to take this information and it's gonna send it to an LLM that you connected it to. So you can pretend like these are ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Grok, so on and so forth. So maybe ideation, you say, oh, I love the way ChatGPT ideates, so it sends that to ChatGPT. And then you like the way that Claude writes scripts better. Personally, I think Claude is a really good copywriter. So it sends that ideation into the scripting in Claude with the context of the database. Maybe, I'm not saying you should do this, but maybe you have an AI clone of yourself connected to 11 Labs so it can create videos on autopilot. Then it sends it to the recording agent and it starts knocking that out based on the scripts that were created, based on the ideation that was created, based on the database that was created, okay? So you can kind of see how this works, right? And then, so let's say from here, it's the final product's finished. Well, we need to go do some research on YouTube to understand what's working and what's not working. And so it sends it to here. And we also need to make sure that the information that we created is accurate and relevant. And so this is where a post-regression checkup lives. And so what it's gonna do is it's gonna see all the content. This is, to be honest with you, this is actually gonna happen before the recording phase. But basically what this is gonna do, and this is relevant for law firms or doctors that are using AI, is it does what's called a Lang chain, where it's basically taking the information that was created based on the database and it's cross-referencing it. It's making sure that it is accurate. And this keeps it from hallucinating, which is very important, especially in something like a legal case. Okay, so from there, maybe you have a certain folder in your Google Drive where videos get uploaded to, and it puts it right in there. And then maybe it has next to it in another folder the title of the video, it has the description, and it has the keywords you want to use. And then just like that, all from this simple, this took 5 or 10 minutes, but all it took was one prompt from you to get your final video output. And this is a great example of how someone could automate data and how they could automate different parts of their business. So going back up to the top, customer service, sales, marketing. Think about customer service. It's the same thing. You have all of your customer interactions, all of the information, your training materials, your documents, all of it. And what happens is let's say it's in a Slack group. Let's use Slack, for example, okay? And there is a customer request. It asks, hey, I was curious why my ad, depending on the nature of your business, let's say you're an advertising agency, just an example. Curious why this ad wasn't performing well. These are the metrics. Boom, reference the database, write the reply, and then send it to the client almost instantaneously. And so it's basically a 24/7 autopilot AI that is based on every single piece of data and everything you've ever done in your business. And so it knows you probably better, it could probably respond in a more accurate, quick way than you could do it in the first place. This is how you can think about automating your business with AI. This is not fluff. This is not fake. This is not a fairy tale. You can actually replace employees. I hate to say it, but that is the God's honest truth with AI. You can replace yourself in the time that you're spending with AI. So this is a video showing you exactly how to automate your business. And if you're an employee, this is the same thing. You got to think about, how can I use these systems to 10x my productivity, make myself an indispensable resource in this business? And this is how I'd recommend doing it. I would love to be able to answer specific questions from employees and business owners with your specific use case. I need help generating video ideas. And my whole goal is to basically create AI content. I'm calling it AI for Dummies. If you remember the For Dummies series. And it's basically just how to use AI if you're not a technical person, because I'm not, but I've taught myself and I've learned this. So leave a comment, like and subscribe. Let me know something that you need help with AI related. I will make a whole video about it, I promise you. I don't get a lot of comments right now, so I'm happy to really dive in with anyone that wants help. Anyways, if you want to add AI to your business, also book a call. My website link is in the description, and I love this stuff. So yeah, you guys have a great day. I hope this is super helpful.